With Shane McMahon having a ton of heat in WWE following the Royal Rumble and more, this is Wrestling Up. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for January 31st. With him being one of the best talkers in pro wrestling, Paul Heyman sat down on the Masked Man show to say he's been impressed with the promo abilities of Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. The Tribal Chief just couldn't be the best looking man in the industry in his late 20s. He had to be a little more seasoned. He had to be a little more grizzled. To speak as the Tribal Chief before he's the Tribal Chief would not have made sense. He's very comfortable in this presentation. This is authentically who he is. This is how he sees himself. I like to say that SmackDown is the best reality show on television because you're getting to see the real Roman Reigns for the first time. In terms of Brock just never felt like talking. Brock Lesnar does what Brock Lesnar wants to do, and Brock Lesnar doesn't do what Brock Lesnar doesn't want to do. When Brock came back, he had been gone long enough and looked different enough and is really comfortable enough with himself now that he just says screw it. This is who I am and they'll like me for who I am or they won't. I'm just going to give them the real Brock Lesnar, which is a far more smart-ass Brock Lesnar than most people were even prepared to see. At the Royal Rumble, Paul Heyman turned on Lesnar with Reigns causing him to lose his title match against Lashley. Cheers to 2022 and resolutions you can actually keep. How about upgrading your grooming routine for the new year? Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with their exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com and use code WrestlingUp20 for 20% off plus free shipping. This year, take your grooming to the next level with their Performance Package 4.0 and brand new Ultra Premium Body Wash. Inside the Performance Package 4.0, you'll find the Signature Lawnmower 4.0. This electric trimmer is designed to trim hair on loose skin. The advanced skin-safe technology reduces cuts and nicks all over. Have wild hairs coming out of your nose or ears? Well, Manscaped can solve that problem too with their Weed Whacker and the new product that needs no introduction. The Ultra Premium Body Wash from Manscaped solves all three for the perfect addition to your daily grooming routine. But in the shower, kick discomfort and poor hygiene to the curb this year and use the best tools for the job. Whether your resolution is to work out more or travel to new places, be sure to travel to manscaped.com for our exclusive offer of 20% off plus free shipping with the code WrestlingUp20. Cheers to grooming with the best of the best in 2022. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code WrestlingUp20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code WrestlingUp20. Talking about her time in WWE prior to her release, Scarlett Bordeaux said on Keeping It 100 that there is work to be done with NXT. I didn't expect, there were a few things that surprised me. On the good side, the women's locker room was one of the best women's locker rooms I've ever been in. NXT, the women's locker room, everyone was super supportive of each other. After the women's matches, we'd be standing by the curtain, applauding, hugging each other for doing a great job. It was a great environment in that way. The thing that surprised me though, I thought the training would be a bit different. I had some good training and had some bad training. I thought it was going to be a very organized system and it would have a perfect way to get anyone from zero to become a great wrestler, but maybe that's not the trainer's fault. A lot of times you take people who are professional athletes, football players, models, and it's really hard to make these people good wrestlers if they don't actually love and care about wrestling. Maybe the trainers get a hard time for that. I thought they were going to be able to turn anyone into a great wrestler, and I don't think that's possible after being there. Some of the best training I got was on the independent scene. Everyone who was in WWE and would be better for it if they spent a little time training on the indies. You get something different from training on the indies. There was a lot of great trainers. Scotty 2 Hotty, Brian Kendrick are amazing. There are a lot of really good trainers, but I'm so happy I spent all the time on the indies instead of going straight there and didn't train from scratch. On last week's Dynamite, CM Punk would get demolished by MJF, Wardlow, and the rest of his posse. No one would come out to save Punk as Jim Cornette took to his podcast to criticize the segment for not being believable. You really cannot tell me if a gang of people is beating the biggest star in the company and it is not supposed to happen that somebody would not try to do something about it. It really is distracting from the angle when they are not trying to do something. That is exactly why when you set these things up, you explain to the people that are supposed to be trying to do something what they are supposed supposed to be doing, or what they are trying to do, and then not succeed. No bell, no referees, no help. They beat him up and then MJF sits cross-legged on his chest and says, "See you in Chicago," and this had to last 20 minutes. I could have done with half this long, and I could have done with a little more urgent chaotic physicality and believable violence at the end instead of a sports entertainment angle, where nobody tries to stop the crime that is taking place. This week Punk will be facing MJF in Chicago's. We'll have to see who comes out on top. With her being one of the final two in the Rumble and coming just short of winning the match against Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair is being criticized by fans for getting pushed this close to WrestleMania. It'll be an awful match too. Charlotte has got to Triple H reign of terror levels. She never gives her opponents anything and is very, very rarely made to look weak. The Rumble match, another example. It was made to look like a fluke that she didn't win. WWE ruins Bianca Belair's career. WWE stands. Just wait and see how it plays out. WWE, here's Charlotte and Ronda at the end of the Rumble. WWE did a great job over the last 2 years with the Royal Rumble matches outside of Charlotte winning in 2020. How did we go from 2 perfect Rumble matches last year to 2 absolute garbage ones like it was 2015 all over again, but way worse? I'm not talking about the specific match. I'm talking about the constant ramming down people's throats with either Lesnar or Charlotte every single year. I don't complain much actually, but this Rumble was total garbage, and I'm no horse in the race to cause any bias. Speaking of Charlotte, it has been reported by Fightful that she has been heavily pushing for a WrestleMania match between herself and Ronda Rousey. Apparently, she's been attempting to put this feud together for months now. Now, reports have come out that the plan for Mania is for Charlotte Flair to face Ronda Rousey, as Ronda will be involved in Mania the year after. The other women's title match for this year's Mania looks to be Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair. With it previously reported that Drew McIntyre was rehabbing intensely to heal up as quickly as possible to come back before WrestleMania, he would make his return at the Royal Rumble. Now, PW Insider has given some details regarding this as they wrote, McIntyre arrived extremely late into the Rumble pay-per-view to hide his return. We were told that since the stadium was so massive that there were some in the company who had no idea he was even in there until he arrived in the gorilla position for the Men's Rumble. It was also noted by Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer that McIntyre is expected to be a regular on TV once again, but will not be wrestling at house shows since he still has healing to do. After losing his match against Baron Corbin at WrestleMania 35, Kurt Angle would retire from in-ring competition. Still, it seems the company has plans for him to make a return to programming. As he noted on his podcast, they want me to be involved in the show for the next month or so. I'm really excited about it, so we'll see what's in store for me. Given he's been appearing on screen with Vince McMahon, many have high hopes for Austin Theory on the main roster. Talking about him on his podcast, Jim Cornette noted that Theory has a better personality and is a greater wrestler than the current AEW champion, saying, "I genuinely say that Austin Theory at this stage of his career is better than Hangman Page, the AEW champion. His physique is better. That does not mean I am saying Page looks bad, but Theory's physique is simply better. Theory's in-ring work from the basics and the timing and the positioning and the logic of the whole thing is better. He is showing more personality in his matches. He is not showing much personality in his interviews, but Hangman Page did not show a lot of personality in his interviews except once in a while when he gets fired up. But as for Theory's heel personality when he is working in his matches comes through better than Page's babyface personality, whereas we mentioned Page was wrestling Danielson, and we simply could not take our eyes off Danielson." It's often said that all good things must come to an end, and that could be the case for fan favorite tag team RK Bro. WrestleVotes recently pointed out there has been a push within WWE to have Randy Orton and Matt Riddle face each other, as they reported that WWE had planned since the pairing began last spring for Riddle versus Randy Orton at SummerSlam, which didn't happen. The plan was to hold off till Mania. I'm told now only a handful of creative members want to split them, with the idea that if the match happens, it should be for the WWE title. At the recent PWG Battle of Los Angeles event, Lio Rush would defeat Buddy Matthews by disqualification in the second round. Rush would note after the bout that he was not feeling well, as he wrote, "Just being honest with you guys here, I'm not good, but I will be good, and when I'm back, I'll be dangerous." Later, Matthews would turn up for the semifinals and inform the crowd that Rush was taken to the emergency room and would not be able to compete. The son of ECW legend Taz, Hook has made quite a name for himself in his recent matches in AEW. Fans are excited about this young prospect, but Disco Inferno went on keeping it 100 and said he is overhyped right now, and even compared him to Hulk Hogan. Hook is way overhyped right now. He's only had 4 matches, which have all been squashes. We do not even know if he is capable of cutting a promo. There are so many unknowns with this kid that now it's annoying that people are talking of this guy as the next Hulk Hogan already, and it's like, come on guys, don't do that to this kid. It's like he is just a kid, and now they are putting all this pressure on him, and now what they have done is, like dirt sheets and these fans, they've created that segment of people that are now actively looking for him to screw up, and they're going to let everybody know when he does. That is simply what this environment brings. You overhype somebody, you better be perfect going forward, because any imperfection that this guy has, the trolls are going to come out of the woodwork. Shane McMahon made his return to WWE at the Royal Rumble, where he had an impressive showing in the match. Now it seems the son of the WWE chairman has caught a lot of flack from those in the company, as he took part in producing that match as well. Ringside News reported that Shane McMahon was producer and lead writer for the men's Royal Rumble match, and there is a ton of heat on him today for it. We were told that Shane was fighting everyone, booking himself to be one of the last ones out, and he has the entire locker room really angry. Interesting note on the story about Shane McMahon's heat producing the men's Royal Rumble match. We were told, quote, "The Rumble kept changing all day because people kept going to Vince complaining. At one point, Shane had Seth in there. Seth Rollins was thankfully not in the Rumble." A tenured member of creative told the outlet that Shane McMahon openly buried Jamie Noble, who was the other producer, and he tried to book the Rumble around himself. There are also further plans for Shane in WWE, with it noted that Bad Bunny's Royal Rumble appearance will not lead to a WrestleMania moment this year. That is not the case for Shane McMahon. We were told that McMahon is booked for WrestleMania. We were not told what his role is at this time, but he's scheduled for the show. It would also be reported that Shane McMahon will be appearing regularly on the brand going forward. PWInsider.com has confirmed. We are told McMahon will be a heel going forward. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.